Okay, we're live. We're there.
Hello, and welcome to BookCAST, where we love books and we love talking about books. I'm Dana. This is my dad, Keith,
Hello.
and we are currently on episode 12. Um, we are doing the last, eight chapters
Yep.
of Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. Woo!
Yeah, it's awesome.
So
Woo-hoo.
let's get started.
Take it away.
If you want, well, I was looking at something. Okay,
Too late.
I'm too late.
We already live.
Um, so yeah, last time we left off, Wade, aka Parsival, got himself arrested by the Sixers, and he was taken in real life to the IOI database.
Oh, the IOI headquarters.
Yeah, the IOI headquarters, where
Yeah.
he apparently was his plan all along, and it was a slow burn reveal. Because at first we were like, "Oh my God, he got arrested,"
Very slow burn.
and then we finally find out, oh hey, it was his plan all along to infiltrate the headquarters, use information he had bought months before, to infiltrate the IOI database. Okay,
Meow,
and
meow.
sorry, the pets. Eh! No, the pets are being obstinate. No, no.
There we go.
Um. Anyways, Wade, using information he had gotten months before, infiltrated the database within that, but he could only use that information in IOI itself. He had to be you have to be a member or an indent. So he intentionally became an indent so that way he could hack through their database to get all kinds of information that the Sixers had. And he was going to escape. But now he has to, but we learned last time where we left off that he has to escape a lot sooner than he'd planned because he found out that Sorrento had put in a request to get Artemis and Shoto kidnapped in real life and force them to show him how to open up the third and final gate.
Dun dun dun.
So that's where we left off last time. My hair is flying all on my face.
That's because you got
So,
attacked by a slobbering wolf.
yeah, Archer is not used to me staying up late. so, so yeah. And now we are on chapter 31. Um Parsival downloads as much data as he possibly can, and he has to get out quickly. So as soon as but before he escapes, while his information is downloading, he sets up a supply requisition order that that is to be delivered at noon 2 days from that point in the book, right?
Right.
Now, there's no mention of what this requisition order is. It's just that he put one in, and we don't know what it is or what it's going to do. But he sets it up, and then he finishes downloading the data, and he uses his hacker know-how to make his debt disappear. He disables the locks on the tracking equipment they put on him that's on his ear and his ankle bracelet, and then it was time for him to hurry up and get out.
Doesn't he also, if I remember correctly, um, get rid of or change back all of his information so that the character or the person he was pretending to be while at IOI, they can't trace anything back? he kind of switches everything back to his original stuff. I
He
thought,
does
or
he
was that
does it when
later?
he does it when he gets out.
Okay, I thought he did that at the
Um
same time.
no, because he just erases the debt and he escapes. So his fake identity, that of Bryce Lynch, becomes a fugitive. So when he gets back outside, he changes it back. And he puts on a maintenance tech uniform, and he makes his way to the elevator and then the lobby. and, and in the elevator, because he knows that Sorrento later on is going to view the footage as to how he got it, how he escaped and how he got the data, because once what he found out is out there, Sorrento's going to know that it was him.
Yeah,
So he's going to go back and review all of this. So for good measure, he sticks the bird at the camera. But he does it like where he's like scratching his nose, but he's doing it with the bird,
I like
you
that.
know? Just, throwing a little F you to Sorrento. And as he's getting ready to walk out, he does get stopped. But it's just a lady that stops him. Is like, "Hey, you're bleeding really badly," because apparently his band-aid had fallen off and he's like ears bleeding. Because the tracking equipment they had put on his ear, he had taken off, but it was because it's kind of like a tag they use on cows or animals in the wild. It, created a wound.
Yeah,
So he has a little freak out, before he finally makes it outside. Well, he has two minor freakouts. His other freak out was that he was still wearing the plastic covered indent shoes.
yeah, with the squishy sound.
So they were just making, that sound that plastic makes.
Yeah,
And so he has too many freakouts, but he makes it out into the freezing winter air.
I know that whole part of the chapter there was very stressful.
Yes.
It was that was tough.
Yeah, because at this point, who knew what was going to happen really? So it was uh it was very stressful.
Extremely stressful.
He makes it out and he heads to this place called the mailbox. And it's basically um just it's a mini post office, but you don't have to deal with people. It's a PO box post office thing. You just go and you get your stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a fully automated post office box rental outlet thing. And he had rented one before he got arrested, and he had a top of the line portable Oasis rig sent to it. So it was already waiting for him when he got there to pick it up. So, that was really, really smart. Like, this whole scenario that he came up with was very dangerous and very smart.
Oh yeah, he's smart as hell.
Um, so he logs in right then and there. He logs into his Oasis account, okay? And he reboots Max, his little AI friend, his little AI, companion. He reboots and he erases Bryce Lynch, and he goes back to being Wade, because at
Yes.
this point it doesn't matter. Sorrento knows he's alive, so there's
He
like,
will when he receives the video.
and at this point, it's all out war against the Sixers, so he's going to do it as Wade instead of Bryce Lynch.
Yep.
So, and he's got all of his stuff back. And he had been logged out for 8 days, which is a personal record for him. 8 days he had been logged out. He sees that he's got messages from H and Shoto and Artemis, but he replies to Artemis first,
I wonder why.
of course. He warns her about what the Sixers know about her and that she should leave her house immediately. But before, but he also puts a little PS, "You're even more beautiful in real life." like just to let her know. And then he sends it, and then he sends a message to Shoto as well, because Shoto also might get kidnapped. So he's like, but without the little PS, you're so beautiful. He doesn't do that for Shoto. He does,
I'm
but he
glad he doesn't.
just does it for Artemis. But um, so he warns them, and he warns H as well. Um, he becomes Wade Watts again, because his fake identity is now a wanted person. He then goes on a little shopping spree because he needs some new threads. So he goes like to a bunch of like different things. He goes to a little clothing store called Threads, and he just buys himself some clothes, and he throws away his IOI maintenance uniform. He also goes to a freaking vending machine and buys himself a small gun and one of those like flak vests and some mace. So there's like freaking vending machine just popping out guns. But oh, you can't get a gun from the vending machine if you have a criminal past. And because he was using his real identity, who doesn't
Yeah,
have
he's able to
it,
get one.
he's able to get a small gun. Even though he's never used a gun in real life, but he's used guns all throughout his time in the Oasis. So when he holds it, it's very familiar to him.
Yeah,
Now, then he goes to a place called Plug. Plug is an Oasis parlor where you can rent booths, and you can log on to the Oasis. I mean, I'm sure they have like haptic gloves and visors and stuff you can rent, or you can bring your own. And he brings his own, and he rents a private booth, and he rents enough data, because you have to rent if you're going to upload. You have to rent how like the space to upload, I think, is how
yeah,
they did it. And he has to. It's 10 zettabytes worth.
that's a
And I
lot.
want is that I was gonna say, is that like a real measurement?
Yeah, a zettabyte. Yeah,
Okay. I'm
yeah.
not as tech savvy. I'm not that tech savvy, so just
uh,
want to know.
hold on. I didn't remember every single one of them by heart. Yes, shame on me. But you have the bit, the byte, the kilobyte, the megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, and exabyte. There is no zettabyte for in real life. So it goes up to an exabyte.
So I'm guessing zettabyte is even more than that.
It could be, but it's not on the current measurement charts.
So because this is set in the future, I mean not that far in the future, but it's set in the future, I'm guessing that it's a pretty big amount.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Um
yeah. So
and it costs him a pretty penny to rent all of that. So the guy is like even surprised that he can borrow, like he's surprised that he could pay for all that. So, um, so he gets all set up, and he logs back in, and he uploads all of his data to his Oasis account. And what he does is he sends to the major news feeds all the info, like not like all the information, but he sends the news feeds proof that Sorrento and the Sixers have murdered in real life. He sends them the vid recording of Sorrento and his first meeting, where he
yeah,
threatens to blow up his Wade's aunt's house. And then he also sends the vid of the Sixers killing Daito in his apartment. And also the fact that Sorrento sent out a request to his bosses to kidnap Artemis and Shoto. So he sends the news feeds all of that.
Yeah, so that they're up to date.
And then he creates a mass email to that is supposed to go out to every Oasis user, but he doesn't send it just yet. And he heads to H's basement. And when he gets there, he sees that Shoto, H, and Artemis are already waiting for him.
Wow.
Um, in chapter 32, they're wondering, like, where the heck has he been? Where has he gotten all this information from? What is going on? And he tells them, he makes sure that Artemis and Shoto have left their homes in real life, and they have. And he explains what he did, and they are pretty impressed. Though the Artemis is a little mad, because
Just a
he's
little,
like,
yeah.
she's mad because she's like, oh, well, you didn't have to look inside the files. You just, that's personal privacy.
Yeah, she thinks
And
he's just being nosy. And he kind of was.
he was, but
But he
he
also
had,
was trying to help him.
yeah, because he wanted to
It's
see,
twofold.
yeah, he wanted to see what information the Sixers had on each of them. But the benefit of that is getting to see what Artemis looks like in real life. It's not like
Yep.
he was trying to do it specifically to see her, but, you know.
2 second follow up on the electronic data measurements. Now I'm going to try and get all these right, and I'm not going to go into any details on them. Here they are in order, smallest to largest. The byte, the kilobyte, the megabyte, the gigabyte, the terabyte, the petabyte, the exabyte, the zettabyte, the yottabyte, and that one's actually nicknamed after Yoda.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, there's the zettabyte, the shilintabyte, and oh Lord, Blue Jagajin. I'm probably gonna get this one wrong. The Domi Gimme Gratabyte. Uh,
Ooh, that's ridiculous. That's
yeah,
probably the kind of stuff the
it's like
government
it's
uses.
redonkulous.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. This is probably going to show up on the screen a little bit, but that's how you that's how it says.
Uh-uh. Dome, gimme.
Dome Gimme Gratabyte.
Oh, heck no.
Dome Gimme Gratabyte. And
That's the biggest one.
that's the largest available.
So
That's what
zettabyte
that's
is the
like
thing.
that's 100. Is that 100 million or 1,000 million? I am
I don't
terrible with math.
I can't do math.
3, 6, 9, 12. 33 zeros.
Oh, Jesus.
That's big. I don't care where you from. That's big. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I just want to close that out.
So,
Complete the circle.
they
Complete the circle.
Oh god. So the group decides to watch the videos the Sixers had recorded of Sorrento trying to open the gate. But Parsival, figures it out really quick, and he watches to see if the others can figure it out, and they do. Like, they figure out how to open up the final gate, because three keys are needed to open the final gate.
Right.
And in order, because Holiday wanted there to be like a very dramatic ending to the race. So that's why you need three people, like, for a dramatic race to the finish line thing. Because Holiday was pretty dramatic. So now the group needs to hustle because the Sixers could figure it out, and then they'd all be screwed. So Parsival explains that the shield will go down at noon on Monday. So, and he's very sure. So we kind of get an idea of what the requisition order from chapter 31 is supposed to actually accomplish, but we don't know exactly how it's is going to get accomplished yet. But we know that that's what the requisition order is for, to bring down the shield.
Yeah.
We just don't know how yet. Um, he shows them the email that he wrote up, calling for all Gunters to band together against the Sixer army, which is so funny because this is a complete change because at the beginning of the book, he was all about going solo. He was all about just working by himself, him and H. What?
Oh, sorry. I'm just the girls. I heard the girls. I thought they were fighting. It's hard to tell with earphones on. And Mama
Yeah.
closed the door all the way. I wanted her to leave a little crack. Leave a little crack in the door. I think they're good. I thought they were fighting, but I think they're just talking very loudly. But it's cool. Y'all can't hear them, but I heard them with my headphones.
Um
Sorry.
so it's definitely a change because he was at first just about going solo. But now he wants everyone to band together against the Sixers. And it's not impossible considering that most Gunters are
You put your
already
hand
at the
right here.
castle.
Don't matter. Oh, they were singing.
Oh.
Cha.
So, he sends a copy of the email that he made to each of his friends, and he wants them to send copies out to everyone that they know
Get
and
the
send out
word to everybody.
as many copies as they can. The plan is set, but they have one problem. None of them have a place in the real world stable enough to fight a war from online. So what are they going to do?
What? Oh, I'm glad we live streaming. She wants to drink. Yeah, we live streaming. You didn't know that, right?
So, in a surprise twist, the great and powerful Og shows up
That was
in the
so cool.
basement. Just pops right in out of nowhere. He
Yep.
just pops in and he's offered to help.
Big surprise, and I love what they're about to learn.
I know, right?
That is
So,
amazing.
chapter 33. Parzival and friends are like stunned. The Great Ogden here in the basement. What the heck? Well, apparently he's been in the basement. I remember at the beginning of the book when those comic books dropped, that wasn't a glitch. That was because Og has the ability to eavesdrop and go wherever he wants. Only him and Holiday had that power.
Hey, Archer.
Archer. And so he was there earlier on in the book. Like he was eavesdropping on H and Parzival at the beginning of the book. So that's why, and he's just clumsy. That's why those comic books fell. And it's like, oh my goodness.
I love the fact that he has the power.
So, and only, like I said, only Ogden and Holiday's avatars had that all powerful ability to go wherever they want with throughout the Oasis, and that they are the two most powerful avatars in Oasis.
They're basically the only two global system admins. But I'm going to shut up there because I'm spoiling even further down. I'm being quiet.
So basically, Ogden promised.
Archer!
He's basically saying it's bedtime. So Ogden promised Holiday that he would before Holiday's death. Ogden, please don't unplug my computer, Archer. Ogden promised
Might be a
Holiday
short podcast.
that that he would protect the spirit and integrity of the contest. And the Sixers, because they're not playing fair, Ogden said it was time for him to intervene. Just a little bit. He's not going to help them figure out anything. He's just going to help them and give them a boost against the Sixers. So, what he's done is he offers transport to everyone to come to his home in Oregon. And from his house they can safely fight against the Sixers. He sets up jets for everyone. But since Parsival and H are so close in real life, like located close to each other, they're going to share a jet, which means H has to pick up Parsival, which means they'll get to meet for the first time in real life,
That is awesome.
which is awesome, yes. So the plans are set. Parsival and H. Parsival gives H his location, and he's very nervous, but that's because this is the first time he gets to meet two of his closest friends in real life. So he wonders if he even has a chance with Artemis. He's like,
Yeah, he's
he
wondering about his chance with Artemis, but H has been his best buddy for
for
well
years.
on like 10 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been and H knows everything in real life about Wade.
Yeah, they've shared a lot of intimate details. So the plans are set. Parsival sends out his mass email to Gunters, to all the Gunters, and rallying them against the Sixers. And he checks the news feeds, and they've exploded with news on the war and the accusations against IOI. And Parsival wishes he could see Sorrento's face when
Oh
he
yeah,
learned that it was all him. So
you
he
know
logs out.
Sorrento's 10 kinds of pissed off.
Yes. Um, and so he takes a nap, and he decides to take a nap while waiting for H to arrive. Someone in the chat says hi.
Oh, Tweety Clan, hey, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by.
Welcome to BookCAST.
Welcome. We appreciate y'all being here. Looks like we got a few people that logged on. We got Commander Root, Doug Lindauer. Hey, Doug, what's up? Electrical Skateboard, you, Trilogy, and Tweety Clan. Appreciate everybody tuning in and watching.
So, a few hours later, H arrives, sends him a text, and yes, I'm Keith's daughter. So, hello.
One of them, anyways.
Yeah, one of them. I'm the oldest.
I wasn't gonna say that because every time I do, you get all kind of. I
I'm
wasn't
the
going there.
oldest.
Yes,
So,
she's the oldest. See, it's the way I say it. I know what it
oh my
is.
god.
I'm even getting a look from your mama.
Anyways,
She's supporting you, by the way.
thanks, Mom.
She said, "Thanks, Mom."
Movie's finished.
Come see.
Oh my goodness.
They
They
gon'
need
they
to
gonna
be
tell
asleep.
they gonna tell you hi.
They need to be asleep. Hi.
Mama, we were watching Storks over there.
Oh yeah?
Tell mommy hi.
Hi. Hi.
Tell everybody else hi. Wave at that camera and tell everybody hi.
Y'all need to be asleep.
Mama said y'all need to be asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You need to go to bed.
Mama. Can I hear her?
You just could tell her hi.
Hi.
Quickly tell her hi because we got to finish the bookcast. Say hi.
I love you.
Hi, baby.
Tell mama hi.
I love you.
I love you too. I love you.
Oh, here, Elena. Tell mama hi.
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 Say hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Oh. And Archer.
Archer.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
Tell mama you love her.
I love her.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah,
I
he
love you,
heard. I love you
Papa,
guys.
what is that?
That's a screen. See, look, it shows up like this on the back of me. Instead of it's I know it's hard for you to understand, but instead of seeing the green screen, they see the books. So
Go to
Love
sleep,
y'all.
girls.
Movie's over. Time
Love
to go to bed.
you.
Mama said love you.
Love you.
Go for it.
Bye, sweeties. They make the apartment alive. Sorry about the interruption.
Oh,
You got
so
some cute children.
I know I do. They're so adorable,
Yes, they are.
but they don't want to sleep.
No, they don't. They
Um,
don't like sleep.
yes, I know.
They don't like sleeping.
I've been getting a very nice break.
You welcome. The bill's
Yes.
coming.
Oh my God.
No.
Anyways,
Anyway,
so H shows up and he arrives in a small RV. Parsifal enters the RV and gets to see H for the first time, who, plot twist, is actually an African American girl, okay? Like, whoa. This whole time, his friend online, who he thought was a guy, is actually a girl, which is like, what? But
but
I mean, it shouldn't be that surprising, but it
well,
kind of is.
and the thing that I like is what everybody's about to learn. I like the way they wrote in the reason why she kept her identity and changed it. I like the way they gave her that piece, and I also like the fact that it doesn't matter to Wade whatsoever. Because a lot of times it's not like that in real life, and it should be.
Yeah, see,
But anyway,
um, he's in shock, of course, but and a little embarrassed because he shared in very intimate, puberty details,
with a girl,
with his best friends.
with a girl, yeah, he didn't realize she was a girl. I love that
But
part.
but
That was cool.
it disappears, and he just bursts into laughter, and he gives her a hug. And it was just like, hey H, it's good to see you in person. And because you could even tell from the way they talked about it in the book that she was nervous as well because she didn't even look at him at first.
She didn't look at him, and she was sweating, sweating, sweating,
Yes.
sweating.
Yes. But when he laughed and she laughs and they hug, and he's like, regardless of what she looks like in real life, she's still H. So, still his best friend. And she promises to explain everything to him once they get on the plane. So
Yeah, but there's a piece, and I just the way society is all the time, and I'm mentioning this because I love the fact that she's actually an African American female. She's also a little heavy, but none of
yes,
that makes any difference to Wade whatsoever, which is one of the beauties of the internet. You get to meet and find out who people really are, and you don't prejudge them based on anything, which is
no,
that's what I like. So that is cool.
that is cool.
Oh, Tweety Clan, I'm sorry to hear that. I kind of wish that were the case as well. Tweety Clan said, I wish my dad could have met my kids.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely something special. Now I'm sad.
So H, well, H explains that it was actually her mom's idea to keep her identity a secret because her mom uses a white male avatar because it afforded her better opportunities.
Right.
So when H started school, she did the same thing. And they used they used a really good I guess a rendering of a white boy to to be her picture for school because they needed a real photo of what they look like in real life for school. So they use like a doctored photo basically.
Right. And on the and in the Oasis itself, um, they also used voice changing software to make her
Yeah,
voice sound a lot deeper, so it sounded
yeah,
more like a guy.
yeah. And she's on always on the move because when she turned 18, she came out as a lesbian, and apparently her mom had a lot of problems with that. So she left. She left and she lived in some shelters for a time, but she participated in the Oasis arenas and was able to earn herself enough money to buy a small RV, and she just has been traveling ever since. So, which H is a very interesting character. I really like her.
Oh yes, she's probably one of my favorite characters behind Artemis, because I think
Yeah,
Artemis is kind of one of my favorites. But H,
yeah, yeah,
they're both kind of the two top favorites. They're more interesting than Wade.
yeah. Cause I
And from
mean,
the beginning, I always thought H was the most interesting one, to be honest with you.
I know, like really smart. Just the really an elite player. So this plot twist was really, really well done.
And then I also
Um,
like Artemis because, from a different standpoint, she wasn't afraid to hide the fact that she was a female, and,
and
and she's still very strong.
and in the book, Artemis is more like Rubenesque. Her avatar isn't cookie cutter.
Right.
She
It's
has
not,
it's just a more real look for a real person.
but she also didn't have the parental influence like H did. So she just, I'm going to be me.
Yeah,
H was kind of brought up to say, well, if you want to survive, you can't. There's too many risks against it. Do this instead, and that's what H did.
yeah. So they really are like two of my favorite characters as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah, they're
I mean,
fantastic.
I love Wade. I do. He's very smart,
But
but I really love Artemis, and I really do love H.
just like in most stories, like in The Lord of the Rings, Frodo is basically the main character. He carries the ring. But without Sam, Frodo ain't got
Yeah,
shit.
he wouldn't have made it without Sam.
Frodo ain't got nothing. So
Yep.
it's those the sub characters, and to me, they're not sub characters. They're the meat of the story.
Yeah, they carry the hero basically.
And there's a term for it in writing. You may know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but there's actually a term for that in writing.
I don't know.
It's kind of like Doug may know. Doug might know. He's a school teacher. He knows all that stuff. Um, that's just like Jarlaxle with R.A. Salvatore. What do they call that? The Maximus Day or something like that? I could have the term wrong. Blue Jagajin. I could. One of these
But
days
like
we'll tell you all that
I
story.
I love Jarlaxle from
It's basically
yeah.
the catch-all, end-all, be-all, solve the problem if you can't figure out any other way to end the story. Throws Jarlaxle in there to throw out to end the story, basically. Solve all
Yeah.
the issues and end the story and move on to the next book. And I think, I could have it completely wrong. I thought it was called Maximus Day, but Blue Jagajin. Anyway, I'm sorry, Dana. Continue.
No, it's cool. These tangents are awesome actually. So they arrive at Ogden's place, and it is amazing because he built it to look like Rivendell. And I was like, oh, yes, to have that much money to make your entire estate look like Rivendell. What? What?
Oh, you missed the part about H.
What?
The reason why she took off when she was 18.
No, I said it. That
I'm
she was
sorry, I missed it. Okay, I'm sorry.
because she came out as a
Yeah,
lesbian.
okay, I
Her
missed it.
mom, yeah. So, but yeah, Ogden's estate looks like Rivendell, and because his wife was a huge Tolkien fan, and I was like, oh my
I knew you were gonna do that when you found that part of it out. By the way,
oh yes, oh
yeah.
man.
Damn it, I'm
So
shaking everything. Sorry, I'm trying to stretch my foot because it's killing me.
So Ogden greets them, and he's wearing a plaid bathrobe and bunny slippers because, like, this dude is very whimsical. Okay, he don't care.
Yeah,
He's gonna
he.
come out of the house in his plaid robe and bunny slippers.
Yeah, there's
Like,
something wrong with him.
no, he's just a very comfortable person.
No, there's something wrong with him. The dude ain't normal.
And he informs them that Artemis and Shoto have already arrived and don't want to meet just yet because it's an unnecessary distraction from their goal. So Ogden leads
Unnecessary
R8.
distraction for her.
Well, but yeah, but Shoto agreed that meeting in real life right now would be, a distraction. But it would be a big distraction for Wade. And it's funny because Ogden and even H laughed when Parsival asked if Shoto and Artemis had arrived because of the way he said Artemis's name. They both knew what's up.
Oh yeah.
So, um, So Ogden leads them through the house, and he's got an amazing video. Well, first off, they go through the courtyard, and you see Kira's grave, and it's in a moonlit courtyard, and it kind of reminded me of Gary Gygax's grave in DDO.
Oh yeah. That is. I love to go by that place. That's one of the reasons why Delara's is my favorite because he actually DMs. He
Yeah.
does the voice in the beginning of Delara's tomb. Anyway, okay.
So there's a lot of fantasy artwork through the house. And Ogden doesn't turn on a light switch. He uses a torch to light their way. A real freaking torch, lights it up and just walks them through his amazing castle
And why? Because he can.
because he can.
That's exactly right.
And there's fantasy artwork throughout the house. I kind of like to imagine that Tolkien artists, and they might have a few of his artworks, because of course, they would. It's Rivendell, but um, you know, there's fantasy artwork throughout the house. Um, they go through a room that has Morrow's huge collection of video games, and it's the collection that Holiday had left for Ogden when he died. So it was like a huge collection of classic video games and systems.
Yeah, that is really awesome.
So they get to the basement.
Basically, every video game that there had that exists, I believe, right?
Yeah, pretty
That's
much every
amazing.
video game. Like, whoo,
That
boy,
is
that's a
amazing.
huge
Yeah,
collection. That's a
Misa would
big room.
love that collection.
So they get to the basement, and the basement is like this. I guess I don't remember if it was a circular room or not, but it was a room that had these doors, and behind each door was a little setup for the Oasis.
Yeah,
Kind of like what Wade had back in his apartment. So it's just each was a little, and they had haptic suits like of all sizes. So
top of the
um,
line haptic suits.
top of the line and the top of the line rigs too.
Yeah,
Artemis and Shoto are already in their rooms, hooked up in their immersion bays. Um, Before Parzival suits up, though, he asks Morrow what happened between him and Holiday because it was never revealed until now. So Morrow tells Parzival that the reason him and Holiday had a falling out was because Holiday was in love with Kira as well. But he had never told anybody until right before he died when he sent an invite to Ogden to a chat room and told him about what he planned to do with the contest and everything. And like, hey, I'm sick, I'm dying, and I'm coming up with this contest. But he also told him that he was in love with Kira and had been for so long. And at first, when Kira and Morrow had gotten married, he kind of had this dream of maybe stealing Kira away from him, but that never happened. So he just stopped talking to his best friend because he grew so jealous, that he couldn't handle it anymore, and he just shut his friend out. Kira was the only woman that Holiday ever loved. And that's really good that he actually told his best friend before he died that, that the reason why he stopped talking to you dog. Just really? He
What did
knocked
he
over
knock down?
he knocked over a journal that I have. He knocked it over. Pup. He's very frustrated right now.
That's because it's past his bedtime.
But so that's why they had the falling out, was because Holiday had been in love with Kira. So Parsival gets suited up, and it's time for the biggest battle in video game history. And Parsival is ready to go, and we're on chapter 34. And his avatar gets all suited up, armored. He gets his robot leopardon, and he summons it. Like, he makes it go it's shrunk, okay? And in order to make it big enough to get in, he has to say its name really loud in classic, cartoon style. Leopardon.
I have the power.
And he shows up fashionably late. But well, in the cockpit of Leopardon, Holiday coded apparently this 8-track player as well as a shelf of 8-track tapes. So Parsival puts on AC/DC's "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap,"
Amen, baby.
and then it's time to roll.
That's
So
right.
he arrives on the planet Cathonia, I guess that's how you say it, in his giant robot. And he arrives fashionably late, and he lands next to his friends who are also in their giant robots. I don't recognize any of them. Like, Artemis's robot is like the female version of a robot from a cartoon. Um I don't know what it is, but apparently it shoots lasers from its boobs. Um
Not an
H
anime guy, so I don't know any of them. That's not something I ever followed.
H is in a Gundam robot. And now, I'm not a fan of Mobile Suit Gundam. The only Gundam I ever liked was the G Gundam anime, and that was my favorite one. So G Gundam is the best Gundam anime ever. Don't fight me on this. The other ones are just boring.
I'll
Anyways,
take your word for it. I'm not an anime guy.
so people are chanting Parsival's name as he makes his superhero landing. Every Gunter has shown up to to fight. H makes a Star Wars quote. Um, the gates of Anorak's castle open up, and the big cheese himself, Sorrento, walks out. Artemis makes another Star Wars reference. I've got a bad feeling about this. Um, Sorrento starts, speaking, and it's all like, "Oh, nothing can get past our shield," blah blah blah. That kind of, bad guy speech where we are unstoppable, that kind of stuff. All the Gunters threaten and insult him in true gamer fashion, and um, let's hope Parsival's plan works. So until then, they have to deal with Sorrento, and Sorrento. Because remember, he got to the Crystal Gate first, which means he also got a robot.
Right.
His robot is freaking Mecha Godzilla.
It would be.
Huge, huge robot, okay? Almost as tall as Anorak's castle itself. So, oh, that's not it. That's not it. The other Sixers that got through to the crystal, got through the challenge to get to the Crystal Gate as well. If you hear anything, it's Archer chewing on my TV tray.
No, I didn't hear anything. No,
Um,
I didn't notice.
So, on top of having to deal with Mechagodzilla. Our heroes have to deal with the other Sixers who got robots. So we're talking the mechs from Robotech, which I tried to watch that. It's an older anime. I tried to watch it and I couldn't get into it. So they have to
I
deal with
feel
mechs
you.
from Robotech and Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I did watch that anime, and that is a very depressing anime. Okay, so many anime references. Some gunters run away, some hold their ground. Now, what next? Ooh, sorry, my hair flew in my face. So, what happens next is basically we get an explanation of Parsival's requisition order to take
Finally.
down the shield. Finally,
Finally.
there's this little supply droid that make a little bitty supply droid, okay? That's in the behind the shields in the castle, makes its way all the way up to the roof of the castle, I guess, or just like all the way up to where the wizard, the Sixer wizard, is holding the orb of Osuvux. That's the really big shield, okay? I was reading the chat. 3 animes: Macross, Mozopedia, and Southern Cross. Well, I've heard of Macross before, but the other two I haven't.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
never followed. I mean, I never followed any of the anime stuff.
I couldn't get into Robotech. I tried, but I was like, this isn't my thing. Is Outlaw Star and Cowboy Bebop, definitely.
I remember Cowboy Bebop because you, Shelby, and Sean were all into that.
Yes, I have the movie, but I don't have the series. But I do have Outlaw Star. Um, so this little bitty supply droid makes its way to the Sixer holding the orb, and he just holds up an antimatter bomb, and boom! There goes the shield. The wizard dies, so the shield goes down. I'm like, so that's what his little supply requisition order was.
Dude's a
He
genius. H is gonna be
like
like, dude, you are a freaking
yes.
genius.
And we get into chapter 35 where the shield is down. Salute, moment of silence to the poor little droid that lost its life
Bye bye
for the
R2. It
cause.
wasn't R2, but the R2 droid was mixing stuff. It was the DJ at the club on the other planet.
Yeah. So all hell breaks loose, and it's the largest battle in the history of the Oasis. There are Gunters throwing themselves against Sixers. This is Parsival's dream from earlier come true. Like that dream that he had earlier in the book. This Archer, no, Archer, no. Yes, yes, I know
It's
it's
a good
bedtime.
puppy.
Yes, I know, pup, I know. Oh, yes, I know, pup.
He's like, I had enough of this.
He's like, it's bedtime. Um, so his dream from earlier has come true. This huge battle is happening for the egg. So now, Sorrento wastes no time in using Mechagodzilla's massive form to start crushing people. And for him, it didn't matter if you were a Sixer or a Gunter. He was stepping on you. So he stepped on everybody, okay? Um, so H and Artemis and Parsival and Shoto all start firing on Mechagodzilla, but you know it, none of that was working. Okay, this thing is near indestructible. Okay, none of their little powers were working. Parsival fires Leopardon's little gold boomerang so he doesn't feel left out, but none of it works. I mean, come on, it's Mechagodzilla. They have to do better
Yeah.
than that. So Parsival decides, I'll be the distraction. I will stay here and fight while you three get to the gate. Because they only need 3 keys. But before Parsival has a chance to fight Mechagodzilla, Shoto dives in and becomes the distraction instead because he wants revenge against what that jerk did to his brother.
Yep, and I don't blame him.
And I kind of had a feeling it would be Shoto that would be, I was a little surprised when Wade offered to be the distraction. Because because I kind of feel like, you've got the high five, but I feel like Shoto, I feel like because H and Artemis and Parsival were the first three, that they would be the ones that would kind of make it to the end, you know. So when Shoto offered himself up as a distraction, I was like, I wasn't that surprised, and I was like, he's doing it to get revenge against, what Sorrento did to Daito. Um, so H, Parsival, and Artemis head for the castle, and there are Gunters who made it to the gate. But these ding dongs didn't have a crystal key, so they can't get it. They made it to the gate, and they're just standing there.
Yeah, they're just like, I'm at the gate.
Yeah, like, did they forget that you need a key to get in? But so H and Artemis fly through the gate, into the castle, by the way, tucking away their giant robots and doing like awesome little jumping out of the robot, tricking the robot, and just like flying through the castle gates. Parsival tries to get Shoto to follow him, and Shoto refuses. He's able to get in a really good shot at Mechagodzilla by slicing away one of the arms. But Mechagodzilla's biggest attack, that beam, that beam that comes from his mouth, completely destroys Shoto's avatar. And in the process, half of Parsival's robot. So now Shoto is out of the game. So Parsival gets out of his robot and he decides, this is it. This is it. So he takes out the beta capsule that Daito left him and transforms into Ultraman. Are they still awake? Oh my goodness, those children hate sleep.
But like Mama said, they've been sleeping till 9 and 10 in the morning.
Oh, I bet she likes that.
Well, yes, she likes that. Duh.
And usually they're sleeping for 9 o'clock.
Yeah, normally they're asleep for 9. For whatever
all
reason,
excited
they're just
today.
wired tonight. Yeah. They had a much better day today, by the way.
Well, that's good. So Parsival transforms into Ultraman. And Ultraman is as tall as Mechagodzilla. So he uses Ultraman's special techniques and he defeats Mechagodzilla as Ultraman.
That is
Sorrento is
amazing.
out of the game.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody celebrates that.
Victory!
Hell yeah.
So, Ultraman's timer runs out, and Parsival is back to his normal size, and he enters the castle where he sees
Hey,
Ancient Artemis
Papa.
waiting for him.
What's in
And
the
from the looks of
castle?
it, they had their
I'm
own.
still sewing, Mama.
Get your toy and go back to bed, sweetie.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
this way.
Love y'all.
Aw. Shama babies.
Let me do.
They are something.
So,
They are too cute.
they are. I miss them.
You're not getting them back.
Oh, please. You're gonna
I'm
send them back.
I'm keeping them.
You're gonna send them back and you're gonna be depressed the rest of the summer.
I feel alive again. I'm keeping them.
So Parsival gets inside the castle, okay? And I just realized something about, like, so the The Gunters get to the gate, but they can't enter it. Why not? Because they're not. It. Do you have to have the crystal key to just get through the castle gates?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to. I think you have to have it in your possession to be able to get into the castle gates.
Okay.
You're not using it, but yeah, they none of the Gunters are able to get through, and
Yeah.
maybe we're elaborating that because I don't remember the details, but it may just be that they're standing there because they know they don't have the key and they're waiting to see what Wade and the rest of them end up doing.
Yeah. See, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, they were actually just at the castle gate. Once you get through the castle gate, the crystal gate is inside. So why were those Gunters not going in? But it's because they didn't have a key. But anyway, it's just my brain trying to fix thoughts. Um, so Parsifal gets inside and he sees H and Artemis waiting for him, and they had a battle of their own. There were some Sixers
Yeah, they've been
apparently.
battling through. Yeah,
So, and he's like, y'all didn't leave one for me. I'm like, dude, chill. You had yours. You
he
didn't make
took
it
down
personal.
Sorrento. Come on now,
So,
why are you
yeah.
crying? Why are you crying?
So they take out their crystal keys and they open the third gate. Just as it opens, before any of them have a chance to even step inside, there is an ear-splitting boom and they all die. Like, what? What? Is this what's supposed to happen? I don't think so. So, oh, and anyway,
I got your kids and you got the dog.
yep. So chapter 36. The blast didn't just kill Parzival H and Artemis. This blast destroyed everything. The entire surface of the planet is just gone. Okay? And the gate is just hovering in midair where the castle was. Just hovering, okay? Um so it was true that the Sixers owned the Cataclysm artifact, and they detonated it to prevent the Gunters from entering the gate. Like that is such a D move.
Oh yeah, it is.
Ugh. Sorrento, it was Sorrento that was behind that. Mm. But
Well, yeah, he figured if
surprise,
he's not going to win, nobody's going to win.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
determined.
And you know that he isn't gonna just settle. Like he's gonna rip somebody else out of their suit and get into another avatar. I mean, he's not gonna. He just can't get back into his own avatar. But surprise, another freaking twist. Parzival gets an extra life. Okay? There's nobody else in the history of the Oasis that has ever gotten an extra life. So, how did he get that extra life? Remember that little coin that he won from playing the perfect game of Pac Man? Apparently, that little coin was an extra life. So it revives his character. Now, his character is still the same level it was before, but he's got nothing now. Like, he doesn't have any of his stuff. It's just basic shirt and pants. But he's still the same. At least he's still the same level. So now he has to try to get to that gate, hovering in midair, and he has no way to do that. So he's just the gate is just hovering in midair. But thanks to Ogden, the great and powerful Og, Parzival's friends are able to communicate with him as well as view everything he's doing from his point of view. So even though they don't have their avatars, they are kind of viewing the game through him.
Yeah.
So the squad tries to figure out how to get Parzival to the gate. And it kind of looks like the only things that weren't destroyed were special artifacts that some of the avatars were holding. So Artemis mentions that she has a pair of really special sneakers that allow her to fly.
Whatever.
Evelyn
So
now.
so Parzival gets the sneakers, puts them on, and he promises to give them back to her. He promises to give them back to her, and you know he will, because he's a big.
Oh, yeah, he's a big old softy.
Parzival doesn't enter the gate right away,
They're about
though.
to get a
You heard that?
Yes.
Yeah, about had enough.
So Parzival doesn't enter the gate right away. And just as even though his friends are telling him, get a move on, get inside, he's like, wait a minute, I have something to say. And he's like, he promises to H. Artemis and Shoto that if he reaches the egg, okay, he's going to split the prize money between them because it should have been all of them going to the gate together, and it was very unfair what Sorrento and the Sixers did. And I was like, oh. So he also mentions that he is going to need their help to get through whatever challenge Holiday has set up. Because being that it's the last challenge, it's going to be super hard. And Artemis is like, I want it in writing, but she was just joking, and yet he still takes it seriously, and he makes a quick live broadcast,
So that everybody hears it, yeah.
like the ditz that he is. And she's like, I was joking, and he goes, oh, okay, and then he
Whatever.
jumps through the gate. So, chapter 37, he has to play Atari's Tempest, which is not his best game, like at all. That's the challenge that he has to do next is play Atari's Tempest.
Tempest was cool too. I remember playing that.
And Artemis is like, well, you should have known it was part of the hunt because there was a quote from the almanac that was a quote from Shakespeare's Tempest, which is a clue for Atari's Tempest. And the fact that the game is also featured briefly in a Rush music video, one of Holiday's favorites. So he should have known
Big
that the
smiles.
game he should have known that the game was going to be part of the hunt. But, so the arcade game, it only has 1 credit, which means that if he fails, that's it. So Artemis, who has her Grail diary, where in physical form, so that way she can take it with her wherever she goes. It's in her physical form, so that way she doesn't have a chance of like losing it online. She goes through her book and she says that a Tempest has a bug where if you die at a certain level, I think. Yeah, it's a bug where if he dies with a certain score, he gets extra credits to play the game, like a bunch extra credits.
Yeah, so that you can continue.
So he plays through it and he's very rusty. It was not his best game, but he was able to prove Artemis right about the bug, and he gets like 40 extra credits. And during this whole interaction, Artemis talks to him because it calms him and soothes him. So she's talking to him throughout it, which
The
I think
boy is pathetic.
it's adorable.
He's pathetic. That's not adorable. He's pathetic.
So, after an hour, he still hasn't achieved his goal. And
Fixing
then
me one?
Parzival finds out because they all know
I need one.
that the Sixers, are going to make now that the gate is open, the Sixers are going to go through the gate. So, he finds out that not only have the Sixers entered the gate, but once an avatar enters the gate, the final gate, a live feed starts up that everybody in Oasis can view. Like everybody can view it.
Sweet.
So the entire time Parzival has been playing Tempest horribly, people have been watching him. Everyone. And his friends didn't tell him because they didn't want to make him nervous.
Put the rest.
That was it.
But it like it doesn't make him nervous when he finds out. Instead, it brings out like the competition brings out the best in him. So so on his last credit, he finally beats it and beats Holiday's high score.
Awesome.
Um Now, this challenge is a lot is different from the other challenges because you remember the first challenge was playing through a movie and the second was through a video game, right?
Yeah.
Well, for the third challenge, you have to play through a video game and a movie. And so the next part of the challenge, the movie he has to play through is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Classic. A superb classic.
Oh my goodness. So, and just like War Games, he knows this movie by heart.
He
But
better.
if you notice, he had way more fun this time around than when he played through War Games because his friends were with him. And the whole time they were laughing and giggling, and he was having a blast. It's
Yep.
like, oh, look at that little bit of development there.
That's
Like,
what it's supposed to be about, having a good time. That's why we all play D&D and all these social games. That's why we do this bookcast. It's because we all have fun with it.
exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Now, one of the Sixers they suspect is Sorrento, and he is 9 minutes behind Parsival. So Sorrento got into another Sixer, like he probably took over another Sixer's avatar,
Yeah.
and he's right behind Parsival. So Parsival finishes the movie, and he appears in an oak paneled room. And in the middle of the room is a top of the line. It's an Oasis rig. It's like a top of the line Oasis rig. And there are glass tables surrounding the rig, and each table has a different home computer or video game system. He
I'd
is
be in
in,
heaven right there. You could stick a fork in me. I'm done.
but the challenge isn't over yet.
I don't
So
care. I'm done with just the room.
apparently this isn't just any room. This is Holiday's actual office. Like it's a recreation of his office.
Yeah.
Like he is in Holiday's office. Imagine having an office like that though.
I
Like
know.
what? You'd never go home.
I would
The
never
egg
come home.
the egg must be somewhere in this room. And what is that?
That don't just keep on with the podcast. I got this.
So chapter 38. H, Artemis, and
Oh.
Shoto are no longer able to communicate with Parsival.
Uh-oh.
Like he can't hear them anymore. I think they can still see what he sees, but the communications have been cut off because this is like the final, like the last challenge. So Parsival goes around the room. He tries a few computers. None of them work. The only one that works is like the oldest one. Now, bear with me. And IMSAI 8080,
8080, yeah.
the one from War Games. He tries to log in, but the passwords he uses don't work. And then he remembers Kira's Dungeons and Dragons character, Lucosia.
Lucosia.
Lucosia. He remembers that Holiday was only ever able to really communicate with Kira. She's the only woman that he ever was able to actually even talk to, and even then, when he would talk to her, it was as their D&D characters, so he would refer to her as her D&D character. And that name was apparently the password to this computer. So
I
he
think
was
that's
able.
cool as hell. Halliday loved her till the day he died.
So
And
the
the cool
next thing.
thing about that, if you think about that story, he loved her enough to leave her alone with the person she chose to be with.
That's true.
Even
He
though he
even.
was shy.
Did you look into Guardians of the Flames? That's
No,
in
I
the
haven't.
set.
I've got it saved. I haven't looked at it yet, but I do have it saved on my Amazon book list.
That's a book.
Yeah, it's really it's a. I think that's the series that we talked about the other day. Yeah, I haven't bought any of them. I haven't bought any of them, but I've got them saved. They are available. I think they're mostly available through Kindle. Like the Warriors and the Sleeping Dragons, like $50 on Amazon Prime. You can still get some of them in hardback. Yeah, that's a hardcover. It's got 3 books in it: Sleeping Dragon, Sword and Chain, Silver Crown. It's 49.06. I haven't bought them yet, but I
Ooh.
have them saved. It's an old series.
Um.
They are officially on my book list.
Oh, quick throwback, just right quick. Went to Books a Million the other day and found some Dresden Files comic books.
Oh yeah, they've been out. In fact,
So I
that's
thought that was really cool.
in the last 2 or 3 years. That's what he's been releasing are the comic book stories. He hasn't done book 16 yet. I'm still waiting.
What's book 16 called?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's book 16 of 23.
Cuz I saw a
23 is
book
closing out.
I saw a book today at Barnes and Noble.
The last one that's available in the series right now, my foot hurts, is Skin Game, I believe. That's the last one. Ghost Story, Cold
No,
Days, and Skin Game. That's the last one in the series.
I'm trying to
And that's
remember.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14. Yeah, that's book 15. He hasn't released 16 yet. But
I
anyway,
don't know. But
I
anyways,
have
yeah,
them
no, I
all.
saw the comic books. So I
I
thought
have
that
'em-
was really cool.
I have them all.
Oh, man.
I'm on book 4 or 5. Forget which one. You might want to borrow those to catch up.
I know. So, the next thing that he does after he logs into the computer is he picks up the game Adventure and he starts playing on the Atari 2600, which is the first game that Holiday played where he found that an Easter egg, and that kind of, you know, is inspired this contest. So I think it's like the first Easter egg in a game or something was in Adventure. So he plays
That
through the
doesn't make
game.
sense. The only computer that works is the IMSAI 8080. So he logs into that with Lucosia, gets into it, but then he chooses to play Adventure on an Atari 2600?
Yeah, I was confused as well
That doesn't
when
make
I
any sense.
read it. Like, he
Is he
logs
playing
into
in an
that
emulator?
computer. No, I think he goes from the computer to the Atari and he plays Adventure on the Atari.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. He has to. Because I was confused about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all he does. Oh, okay. So that's the part that I missed. So what he did when he logged into that computer, um, and he used Lucosia to as the password, and he hit the enter key, it powered everything in the room. It turned it
Okay. I
turned
forgot about that.
everything on. So when so then it turned on everything in the room, and he goes to the Atari 600 and he plays through Adventure. That's what I was like. I was confused too, and I was like, oh, I guess I forgot about that part. I tend to read a little too fast sometimes. So he plays through the game. He reaches the secret room, and in the secret room is a white oval with pixelated edges, basically the egg. So he uses his little avatar to pick up the egg, and there's a flash of light, and then he's holding it out he's actually holding a silver egg, and he exits the room. Now, the castle has been restored. Like, he exits the Holiday's office, and the castle is restored. So he ascends the tallest tower in the castle, and at the top of that tower is Anorak's study. And he yeah, this full of books and scrolls, basically like the little pixelated, you know, character from the beginning of the book. So he looks out the window from the study, and the entire planet has been restored because he won. He's won the contest. He has the egg. He sees in the study a chalice. So he puts the egg into the chalice, and there's a fanfare of trumpets, and the egg starts to glow. And then Anorak himself greets Parzival and says, "You've won. Congratulations. Like, our hero won. Yay! He won the game."
That's awesome. I just
So
won millions of dollars.
that he's going to share with his friends.
And I mean, it's only right. What you can
But
do? I mean, they're not. But look, everybody can say what the hell they want. They're not just friends. That's his family now. That's all he's
yeah,
got.
that's all
They
he
are
has
his
now.
family. And
Yes.
he's got more than a lot of people do right now. I'll tell you that. That's his family. So
So Parzival and Anorak shake hands, and something strange happens. There is a bolt of blue lightning, and all of a sudden, Parzival is wearing Anorak's robes, and Anorak goes from looking like a wizard to looking like Holiday. So apparently, his avatar, in addition to winning the money and stuff, his avatar has taken on all of Anorak's powers. So now Parzival is just as powerful as Ogden.
yeah, he's got the same abilities. So basically, he has now become a global admin in the game, in the system. That's
Exactly.
power.
Parzival has now he is been entrusted with the care of the Oasis. And Anorak shows Parzival this big red button in the study, and says this big red button will shut down the Oasis forever should he choose to press it. Um, just should he choose to press it. So then he tells Parzival, "I created the Oasis because I never felt at home in the real world. I didn't know how to connect with the people there. I was afraid for all of my life, right up until I knew it was ending. That was when I realized, as terrifying and painful as reality can be, it's also the only place where you can find true happiness, because reality is real." So he doesn't want Parzival to make the same mistakes as he did, in real life.
Yep, he's trying to let Parsifal learn the lesson through him, through the example that he lived. And
So
it's not that he lived, I want to be clear, it's not that he lived a bad life. It's just at the
no,
end of his life, he realized, even though he had a good life, he made a lot of money. If you don't have, and I told y'all this when y'all were growing up, if you don't have somebody to share it with, it really doesn't mean a whole lot. And y'all are all pretty much lucky. Y'all have all got someone to share it with.
oh yes.
So, me too.
So
She got her headphones in.
so he doesn't want Parzival to make the same mistakes he did. And he basically he's like, "I hope you use your powers for good," you know? And he thanks him for playing the game, and then he disappears forever.
That's kind of sad. I might cry.
So
That's
then,
sad.
all of a sudden, Parsifal is able to talk to his friends again. Um, Apparently, they were able to see everything up until Anorak asked Parsifal to use his powers for good. So that was right, and actually, that was right before he showed the button. So they don't know. A Parsifal is the only one that knows about the big red button. Nobody else knows.
Right.
Um, So apparently, a lot of people have are headed over to Ogden's house to interview the winner of the contest. The scoreboard has been wiped clean, and it just says Parsifal wins. And he's able to travel anywhere in the Oasis now. So he blips on over to the Crystal Gate, where he sees the Sixers who followed into the gate after him are there. They're because they as soon as he won, they were kicked out of the challenge. Um, so they're just standing there, and the first thing they do is to try to attack him. But I mean, come on, they can't do anything. So he destroys them really easily. He deletes their avatars basically.
Yeah, but doesn't Ogden show him how he can do that? Because he didn't know how to do that. I thought Ogden showed him that because he also shows him how to revive his friends because he didn't even realize he could do that.
You
Ogden,
might
I think
you
Ogden showed him all of that.
well you might be thinking about the movie because they didn't
No, no, this was the book.
because in the book
Yeah, I just got through. Well, I listened to Will Wheaton read it to me, but that's what they said in the end. Did they change from the audio book from the original text?
No, I mean they're like oh maybe they were just ejected from the gate. So he pulls up his map. He blinks right over to the crystal gate. Um, he says using my avatar's new super user interface, I made a sweeping gesture with my hand, selecting all the Sixer avatars on my display.
Right.
Their outlines glowed red, and then I tapped the skull and crossbones icon that now appeared on my avatar's toolbar. All 18 Sixer avatars instantly drop dead, their bodies fade out of existence, each leaving a tiny pile of weapons. And Shoto's like, holy shit, how did you do that? And H said, you heard Holiday, his avatar is immortal and all powerful. Yeah, I said, he wasn't kidding either. So he just did it. Ogden didn't tell him what to do. He just did it.
He may not have told him about the Sixers, but Ogden is the one he's involved with him reviving the others because he realized at that point, because Ogden says, yes, you can also bring your friends' avatars back.
Um, well, H says, Holiday also said you could wish for whatever you wanted. What are you going to wish for? And he goes, I thought about that for a second. Then I tapped the new command icon that appeared at the edge of my display, and I said, I wish for H. Artemis Shoto to be resurrected.
Wow, I could have sworn it was Ogden that showed him that, and that's what I heard Will Wheaton say anyway. Maybe it's
Well,
slightly different. I'm gonna go re-listen
yeah,
to it and I'll let you know.
maybe it's different. That would be interesting.
It shouldn't be different because all he was doing was reading from the book. But
Well,
I'll
yeah,
let you know. I'll go check it out later and let you know.
yeah. So yeah, that's actually what Parsifal does next. He resurrects his friends. So he killed those Sixers and he resurrects his friends. So their avatars are now back. Um, you know, H H and Shoto are the only ones that log back in, apparently. Artemis has gone outside for some air. But
Sure,
before
she has.
but before Parsifal logs out, H is like, hold on, I need to show you something. He shows him the news feeds. Sorrento's been arrested.
That is fantastic.
They're reading the chat. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
gonna have to put this on full screen. I can't read that tiny text. Give me a second.
Hmm.
Let me see. Let me read this here. Jesus Christ, it's
Do
so
you,
tiny.
do you want me to read it to you?
Go ahead.
Based on this quote, selfish people made more altruistic decisions when motivated by empathy, but not reciprocity. And pro social people made more altruistic decisions when motivated by reciprocity and not empathy. They found that inducing empathy increases altruism in selfish people, but not in pro social people. Meanwhile, inducing reciprocity increased altruism in pro social people, but had no effect on selfish people. Can we suppose pro social people are more opportunistic for this? Do you want me to read it again?
No, I'm reading. I increased the text size. Don't laugh. I'm rereading it.
Uh,
Give us a minute. Let us finish the podcast, and then we'll come back to it. Because if I'm understanding it all correctly, I think pro-social people would be more opportunistic. I think that's my opinion, but we'll discuss it briefly in a minute.
So H shows that shows Parsifal that Sorrento has been accused of murder. He's arrested and he's been accused of murder and kidnapping, and that IOI is denying all of this,
Well,
and
yeah,
they can probably afford the best lawyers, but now so can the high five.
that's exactly right.
So here we are on like the last chapter, okay? The last chapter. Wade logs out and he exits the immersion bay, and Ogden greets him and he hugs him. He's so happy about the results of the contest and that there are a lot of people waiting, but those people can wait because
Oh God, here we go.
Wade has someone he wants to see, and she's waiting for him at the center of the hedge maze.
That might be Artemis.
And it's a beautiful day, and the hedge maze is actually the layout of the labyrinth in Adventure, which he just played. So he easily makes it to the center, and there she is, sitting in front of an awesome fountain. Okay, like this is a dragon fountain, and she's as beautiful as he imagined. And she's like, well, you're as ugly as I imagined. And they both laugh, and they sit for a while, and they hold hands. Wade says he wants to use the money to feed the planet. He wants to do what Artemis said she wanted to do at the beginning.
Well,
And
of course he does.
and he says that he loves her, and
No.
he also admits that she was right to end it when she did, so that they could focus on winning because they won. So they hold hands for a little while, and then she leans over, and there's our romantic hero gets the girl kiss.
No, that's special.
And for the first time ever, he does not want to log back into the Oasis.
Because why? What did Halliday tell him? Hello? I don't blame him.
So that's basically so that the last chapter wasn't very long.
No, but it's so important. Think about what that last chapter actually teaches you. It sums it up. All this electronic crap that we all have, it's nice. It's wonderful. I mean, it gives us something to do. It's entertaining. It's educational. Everything across the board. like what we're doing right now. It gives us a social outlet because we're sociable people. I like meeting new people. I love to talk. I could talk all night. You brew a pot of coffee and I won't shut up. But all of that means nothing if you don't have something in the real world to hold on to. Don't tell your mama I said that. I don't want her to know. But that's the truth. It makes,
Mm.
if you don't have somebody that you love, it doesn't mean anything. I guess it does. I don't want people out there that haven't found the right person to think that there's no hope. You have to make your life whatever it is. If you don't have a significant other, it doesn't mean you can't be happy. It truly
Yeah,
doesn't.
it can
I'm
still
just
be a
saying
fulfilling life.
because I can live by myself and alone if I had to. If the sad situation presented itself, I don't have an issue with that. I can live by myself, but I'd rather live with mom.
Yeah.
And I've always said that. Anyway, I think that last chapter is really important.
Yeah, and I mean, it had a happy ending. So and I'm a sucker for happy endings.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's absolutely fantastic.
the
So
pupper,
I
he's
thought it was an
sleeping.
excellent book. You did a fantastic job covering it in our 4 or 5 podcasts where we covered 40 chapters, 39 chapters, whatever. Had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
And don't forget, the movie comes out next month. It comes out digitally
I already
on
pre-ordered it. I saw it at the movies, but I already
July.
pre-ordered it.
It comes out digitally July 3rd and physically July 24th. So, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but I plan on seeing it. The book was pretty good. I mean, it was an awesome book.
Yeah. And as far as Ethelise's and I'm assuming I'm saying that right, statement that they put out there, I would tend to believe that pro-social people are going to be more opportunistic. But as this story proved, Halliday actually proves that wrong. So I guess I'm wrong. But just by default, I would think pro-social people, would have better opportunities. Not better opportunities, but would get more opportunities than non-social people. But maybe that's where the internet's coming into play. The antisocial people who they're put it this way, maybe they're not really antisocial. They're just how do you say what would be the proper term for saying someone who is actually social but shy but can be social through the internet and stuff like that, but just not in real life.
I classify myself as an introvert. Um,
But you're
basically,
not 100% introvert. You proved that.
well,
You proved
well,
that today, and I'm
that's
not getting into it, but you proved that today.
no, because that's introverted people don't have to be just introverted. You can have extroverted tendencies and vice versa. But like for me, I find being around too many people draining. I lose energy when I go out.
How
And
is
I
that? You drain the energy. We've
No,
had
I
this.
don't.
We've had this conversation before.
But
You
that's
are a
because
psychic
you
vampire.
no, because you are also kind of like that where certain people have a tendency to drain you.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess you're right. At work, that's one of the things, and I fight that all the time. Especially one of my guys that I work with. Um, and he's told me this before, and I think that's why he has issues today in just talking with me and dealing with me. He says I'm very intimidating.
Hmm.
I probably am. I don't see that I am. And I think, and I've had this conversation with Mama, because of the passion I have for the certain things that I do, that passion tends to come across as aggressive more than passionate. So I think it's misunderstood. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I mean, it literally is passion because a lot of times, and you've seen that when I'm talking to you on the phone, I'll say things and you interpret it as though I'm irritated or mad, but I'm actually just excited or passionate. So it comes out very strongly. And this particular person, has told me multiple times in the past that they feel that I am intimidating, and I truly try not to be. I don't think that I am. Maybe other people think that I am. I don't see myself as intimidating. I feel caring and loving because when I see something that I think is wrong, I'm going to talk to the person and try to help them. And I guess I don't have the best method to get that across as though I'm trying to help. They just think I'm cutting them down, and I mean, you can see that obviously by the way you're shaking your head. But it's true. I want to help because a lot of the pain and suffering and trials that people go through aren't necessary in my point of view if they just do things this way.
Everybody goes through life,
But
their own way.
but that's just it. Maybe it's the only way that person can learn. They have to go through that. There is no other way for them. It's not that they don't trust what I'm telling them. It's not that they don't trust the advice that I've given them. It just doesn't work for them. Because everybody interprets things differently and everybody understands things differently. So, like I said, I think that even though I think that really really sociable people would have more opportunities and be more opportunistic and want to take advantage of opportunities, probably recognize them even more. By the same token, the internet and technology that we have today, which is, I mean, I know this story's set in the future, but we know it's going to improve, it's going to grow, it's going to change. There's going to be some different things that come out in the future. People who are antisocial or have reservations or are introverted to an umpth degree, the internet's going to give them a voice.
Well, antisocial is different from introverted
I
because
know it is. It's different, but a lot of introverted people tend to be antisocial. At least I find. I could be completely off base. My experience is a lot of antisocial people are introverts.
because I don't consider myself antisocial. I'm just very introverted. Like I don't like putting my business out there, and I like my alone time. But I also I do like having friends.
Whereas I
It's
put all
just
my business on the street and I don't give a damn about a long time. I'm completely different. I'm like the complete opposite of what you are. Because I
and
have no
like
problem. I have no problem talking about my problems or admitting my mistakes because I learn from them and we can all learn from it. So I have no problem sharing it. That's the way I feel. I'm not embarrassed by it in any way, shape, or form because I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not a robot. I don't have a problem admitting that I'm wrong. And I'm not saying that the way you feel is wrong. That's just the way I feel. Because mama's the same way. I mean, she does not like to draw attention to herself in any way, shape, or form. And I'm getting the evil eye because I'm talking about it right now.
but no, I
And
mean,
and the Wade finger, I got that too.
whereas like I like going out. I do like going out and I like having friends, but sometimes people are draining and then I need a break. I need to recharge and I do that at home through like video games but I find that through social media and through video games that I can be a little bit more open.
And it's funny. You just made me think about something that I didn't realize before. This is why I love dialogue because it makes me think. I can't stand Facebook at all. I hate Facebook. I don't like it. I love Twitter, but I don't like Facebook. And so for someone who feels very sociable, and I love social settings and environments and all that stuff, I can't stand Facebook. I don't know why. I just don't like it. And at the same time, for you being somewhat of an introvert, your actions and the amount of friends and close friends that you have prove that you're not antisocial.
No, I'm not antisocial.
But at the same time, I feel like, quote unquote, quote end quote, whatever, that I'm very sociable, but I have less close friends than you do. Isn't that weird? Maybe I'm not quite as sociable or maybe I just have trouble letting people in really closely. Because remember, and I've always said that, the only people that can betray you are the people that you trust. And I've had things occur in my life where I have problems trusting people. And that's a whole nother aspect of the whole personality and, you know, individualism and social scene and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had friends come and go. I mean, I had a best friend for a long time, and now she and I don't even talk anymore. And I don't
Yeah.
think she'll ever want to be my friend again because I've tried reaching
You,
out to her.
yeah,
But
you and that individual, and then one of your sisters and one of their friends, all that all breaks my heart. I can't tell you how much that breaks my heart that y'all don't. But then again, I sit here and I think about it. I mean, the one true best friend that I ever had, I mean, is dead. I'll never have another friend like that. You know?
and the thing is, I've tried to reconcile, but it's obvious that she doesn't want to. So I've, but that doesn't mean I can't make, other close friends. So I
And it's
have,
not,
I
and
have
it
two close
and
friends.
it doesn't mean that y'all never will. One day, because she's had a lot of really tough things that's happened in her life as well. One day, she'll probably come around. She'll realize what she's lost. You know what you've lost,
Yeah.
and she'll
Well,
realize it too.
I hope she'll, want to one day. But
I
until then,
I
I
think she
can't
will,
sit
because
there and just
I'm gonna
like
tell
never
you,
make any other friends.
she's a sweetheart. She truly is a sweetheart. When she wants to be, she's a sweetheart.
But so I mean, I will like,
But
I do like to make friends,
but you
but
got
I
more
like to
friends
have a
than
few.
Papa. Papa don't have that many friends. Papa ain't got no friends.
And like all these games coming out. So I was watching E3 and they have all these online games coming out, and I'm like, I don't have like friends who play these games. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to make
no,
new
I
friends.
have friends that play the games and all that stuff, but somebody like Jerry, who it was one of those. I think you, and it's not impossible, but it seems like you'd only get one of those in your life. Always calling to see how you're doing. The only person that I've ever had that says, "Hey, how's your day going?" That type of stuff. Well, not now. There's been, I mean, you've sent me those kind of texts as well, especially since y'all have moved. You've
Well,
sent
yeah,
me,
I do like
how's your day,
keeping contact.
how's your day going, and all that stuff. But he always did that, and it was always one of those things where we could call each other up, and if we were having a bad day, we didn't get pissed at each other if we said, literally, this is the way we handle it, and we never discussed any of this. Just basically call up and say, hey, I don't feel like dealing with people today. I'll talk to you when you're ready. Call me back. We never got pissed off about stuff like that. We never discussed things like that. I mean, never discussed that rule set, is what I'm saying. It just
Yeah.
happened. You don't get that with that many people. And I don't think I'll ever be as close of a friend with anyone else besides him ever again. I just won't. I mean, besides Mama, but Mama knows everything about me. But it just,
Well,
as far as a friend, not not a partner in a life, a soulmate, but a friend. He was as close as you could get. There was
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just
y'all were really close.
yeah. And when he first moved across the street at the time, I didn't even like him. Didn't even like him. Now I hate the fact that he's dead. But
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Well, this ended up getting to be a deep conversation. I had a lot of fun with the podcast. We have not settled on the next book. We are leaning towards something from J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, I've read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and half of the Silmarillion.
The Silmarillion is a tough read. I think the reason it's such a tough read, that is the first book that Christopher Tolkien published after his daddy's death. So I think he was just starting to learn his chops, at kind of fixing problems and editing things. So the Silmarillion's the history of the elves, and it's a little hard to read. I
Yeah.
don't know that I would even want to try to cover that.
Yeah. It's a
It's
lot.
it's kind of like the Wheel of Time.
Oh, I
I
can't
read
get
I, re-
into the
I
Wheel
read
of
the
Time.
first 4 or 5 chapters. I've had so many people tell me that is and Adam loves it. I've had so many people tell me that that's an awesome series, very much like Lord of the Rings. I went through the
Mm-mm.
first 5 chapters in the book and I
I
did
could
not get it.
I couldn't get into the
I
Wheel of
could not
Time.
get into it at all.
Now, I really liked Dragons of Autumn Twilight from
Why
the
she laughing?
Dragonlance Chronicles.
What you
That's a
laughing
really
about?
good book.
Oh, who? Dragon what?
Dragons of Autumn Twilight
You
from the
read Weiss and
Dragonlance.
Hickman?
I read that particular Dragonlance book.
Do you know that's where I got the name for my DD Lotro character? I think it's a Lotro character. I had one in DD at one time, but I think no, 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 no.
Which one?
I take it back. When I tell you the name, you'll pick it up. It's my Lineage 2 character, my Lineage 2 dwarf, Flintanus.
Yeah, Flint. Flint the
That's
dwarf.
that's
Yeah.
where I got the name Flintanus for that character in Lineage.
And just so you
Isn't
know,
that a good story though? I mean, that's a
it
fantastic.
is. It is.
If you're
And
ever
I
interested, I have the audio book if you want to re-listen to it.
and I want to go through and read the rest of those books because there's more than one book,
You have
and
to
it's really
understand.
good.
You have to understand the history of those two. When Gary Gygax first started in the early years of TSR, one of those two or both of them were the early writers that he brought on board.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's why it was so good.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's either both or one of them were involved with Gary Gygax and TSR at the very beginning.
And
And did you know that right after he lost TSR and Wizards ended up buying it out when the bitch took over and did all the screwing up that she did, and then Wizards ended up buying it out? Christopher Perkins was hired as one of the final TSR employees, from what I can remember. And when he showed up for work, they said, "You're now a Wizards employee. You have to go to this office."
oh wow.
Mm-hmm. I likes to read about my stuffs.
Well,
Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. I have
at
to go back and
Walmart,
double check all of those facts, but I'm pretty sure it's along those lines. I
I
remember bits and
actually
pieces, not all the details.
I actually picked up the movie the other day. Uh, there's a Dragons of Autumn Twilight movie that Wizards of the Coast did. I picked it up the other day.
Oh, you are freaking lying.
it's old, okay? But we watched it. So it's um I mean the animation is kind of choppy, but it was still worth watching. Yeah, you didn't know?
2007. Buy now with one click. It is done. It
Yeah,
is on the
I bought
freaking
it at
way.
Walmart
Done.
and I watched it.
Dragonlance Dragons of Autumn Twilight movie. It is from 2007. I
Come
just
on,
got it.
2007? It
Yep.
seemed like it was from the 80s or 90s or something.
Lucy Lawless and Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, they
Really?
do voices. Yeah.
That is
Yep.
amazing. I just bought it.
Yeah, Lucy
We're still
Lawless is
live
the voice
streaming,
of
by the way. I never canceled it.
Gold Moon, and I think who does Kiefer Sutherland do? I'm trying to remember what who he voices, but
Papa just bought it. Papa just bought it. Na 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 boo boo.
so yeah. I can't believe you didn't know about it.
No, I didn't. You know what else just popped up, and I may end up getting this. Happy Father's Day to me. Dungeons and Dragons, the complete animated series. It's $22.
Oh, I have that actually.
I
I've been
have a,
having that for a
I have
couple
a
years.
few, I have a few episodes. You got the whole series? You
Yeah, I
stole
got
that
it.
from me. I had it and you stole it.
No,
I
I
know the
bought
truth.
it. No, see,
Why you lying?
no, I
Why
do
you
not
lying?
always steal your stuff.
Why
I
you
will
lying?
sometimes steal your stuff.
Show everybody your bookshelf real quick. Show them all them books you stole.
I'll have just on the record here, you were going through your books one day and you were putting all the books you were getting rid of on your bed and you said, "Well,
She
if you want those before I give
lies.
them away, you can take them." And I stole those because you said you didn't want them anymore.
She
So,
lies. By the way, I have some more duplicates. She lies. I
you really need to keep a list of your books
I
because you
have
keep
some.
buying duplicates.
Well, you benefit from it, so why you crying?
Did. But no,
You benefit from it.
the Dungeons and Dragons animated series I got during one of those Walmart Black Friday deal things.
Well, they have it for 2201. It's a complete box set.
Yeah, I didn't buy it for $22. I got it for like $5. So, haha.
This is amazing. I may end up. I hate to overspend.
So, um, we're probably the next book we're going to do is probably one of the books from the Histories of Middle Earth.
Like I said, that's what I would like, but we don't have to. You know,
We can.
because
Can.
that I have always wanted to read those, and I think I would probably get even more into this if we got into a book series like that.
Well, I'll have to order it because I tried looking at Books a Million and the Barnes and Noble nearby, but they don't have it. So I'm gonna have to order it off of the interwebs. So
Yeah.
that can be the next book that we do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. We appreciate everybody watching. Thank
Yeah.
y'all for joining us. And stay tuned in the next whatever week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it may be.
However long it takes for the books to come in.
Yeah, we'll see about getting the next one. We'll come back with episode 13, and it may change, but we leaning towards J.R.R. Tolkien. So we'll see. Appreciate everybody watching. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. Go over here.